a Reddit post on it saying, "Congratulations, you know."
It had a
ESL
slightly
and
backhanded tone, but still, the point is the same, you know.
I can get behind things starting on time and very little technical issues. That is probably just about the best thing that's happened so far, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the games have been really fun to watch, and the Vega OG series yesterday was phenomenal. If you didn't get a chance to see that, went to the full 3 games.
I watched Game 3 last night.
Yeah,
actually.
it was a very, very good series. So highly recommend people at home watch that if you didn't get a chance to already. But
I saw a lot of tweets saying that was some of the best Dota people have seen in a while.
yeah, it was a really, really good series. I was a big fan. I think it was cast by Will and Cap.
Yep.
So ban phase coming through here. Alliance actually letting the potential Radiant Shadowfiend go, or do they want to just deny pick it for themselves? I don't really see Shadowfiend as an S4 hero though.
No.
You know what I mean? That he's like one of the few mid players who I don't look at him and think that he plays SF. Not that he's incapable of doing it, but more because what we were talking about before and how they usually like to play with him being the shot caller.
It just doesn't fit his style.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. And interesting to see Alliance ban out the Undying. That's, I mean, a hero we've seen getting some love, but not quite a first pick, first ban worthy hero, at least.
He's kind of been
Not as
second
much that
phase
I've
material,
seen. Yeah.
I think, most of the time. Not even in the first 2 anymore, whereas before in this patch he was very highly prioritized to a point where it was like first pick or bust on the Undying. So here we go. Alliance now have their choice. I mean, they can go Wisp, they can go for any kind of lane dominator that they want to. They can even get their hands on Shadowfiend, which again, I kind of doubt that they would actually do.
Yeah. I mean, it seems a little strange to let it through and just kind of hand it over to EHOME. Well, there's the first pick Wisp, so...
Yeah.
Well,
So this has to be like Shadowfiend +1, right? The Shadowfiend is actually okay against most Wisp combinations. So like you could go Gyro Dazzle, you could go Shadowfiend Dazzle, you can open like Darkseer plus Shadowfiend. Like
they could try that Gyro Winter Wyvern that I brought up. They actually played that in that last best of 5 against LGD in one of the games.
Yeah.
I don't know if they opened with it.
There are
but...
so many strong openings right now though from EHOME. That's the nice thing about letting heroes like Shadowfiend through the pool and already seeing the Tusk banned out on the side of EHOME. That actually makes the Shadowfiend pick even stronger because there's less of a potential of a roaming hero who kind of has that like straight up hard initiation on your SF. So we'll see if CTY is going to get his hands on that or if they want to go a different route.
EHOME also do like to play Disruptor, not only against the Wisp, but just in general. It's one of the heroes in their arsenal, so something they could consider. Probably not a first phase pickup here, though Alliance could be likely to ban it out in the second phase.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the Shadowfiend. Shadowfiend Bane,
Ooh.
alright.
Okay.
Nice control hero.
I mean, Bane is really nice because not only is it good against the Wisp combination, but it's another early laning phase hero that is very hard to just look at and say, we can punish that. You know, like Shadowfiend, sure. He can be punished if you can rotate on him, but as Radiant, again, it's the easier of the mid lanes in the first place. You can go back and pick another defensive support later on, like if you wanted to try to get your hands on that Wyvern like you mentioned, and you can use that to babysit mid. Because since Queen is already taken out, there's like Wind Ranger left, I suppose, and then there's obviously Puck if Alliance want to go for some super mid-game kind of hyper-aggressive style, the Bat Rider, that obviously S4 loves so much. Alliance are going to get their hands on a Tiny.
Interesting.
This is, I would say, probably, I don't know if he's still the best, but he is definitely up there in terms of the Wisp combo heroes. And obviously, if you get a toss onto a Shadowfiend in the mid lane and you throw him back, he's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
So the other benefit of taking the Tiny now is that you can ban a lot of the very common Tiny counters as Slardar is now taken out by Alliance. And if you're sensing anything else, like maybe a Disruptor, for example, or you want to try to get rid of one of the other supports that EHOME could potentially take that make that combination not as potent, then you have the chance to now. Or you could even go look to ban something like Gyrocopter, which EHOME can still very easily pick in their current situation.
Yeah, very true. I'm trying to... Do Alliance often play Tiny Wisp? I feel like they usually pair the Wisp with something a little different. Like I think of like the Tiny Sven.
Lotus played a lot of Tiny.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
No, I mean it's such a standard combo. It's there's nothing crazy about it, but
I mean he also likes CK quite a bit.
Yes, that's the other one that I was thinking of.
CK is the one that I know that he personally likes a lot. He has played a little bit as Sven, but that was more in like 2013, 2012 even. It was a really long time
come on,
ago.
he's played it a few times in 2015.
Sven, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm sure he has, but it was more prevalent back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough, yeah. The great Cleave days.
Dude. I just remember casting Thor Open, I think it was maybe 2013 winter.
Yeah.
And they had that game where he just basically one-shot 4 heroes at the same time. Like, they were walking towards the river, like going into a Roshan engagement or something like that, back in the old map too.
Yep.
So they get like Sven stunned and just one-shot all 4 of them, and I was just like, okay, this game's over.
Good old Sven.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, back in the day. All right, Slark will be the 4th ban from Alliance, and Broodmother taken out by EHOME.
Yeah, the Slark ban is a little bit strange. I think it's one of those heroes that functions very well in the ultra late game, right? Against Tiny and Io.
He's just so elusive. He can kind of run circles around the Tiny, and there's not much you can do about it.
It's very hard to deal with him.
Well, here's an interesting pick.
This is something you don't see a lot.
And this speaks to some of that diversity from EHOME that we were talking about. Nyx Assassin is often forgotten about, I feel like, in this meta.
Yeah, he really is. And I think he's an incredibly strong hero.
Yeah.
The most times you see him picked is when you have like a really strong int core that's picked up, like Wind Ranger, for example, is an int core, and then you have another support that's very easy to deal with in terms of just being able to blow them up. Like Crystal Maiden is a good example. Like, that's when you start seeing things like Nyx. The hard part about it is that even though he has high health regeneration and decent base armor, he's still very difficult to lane, and he on his own for a long time isn't really that potent. You're really waiting to get like level 11 to where the hero really starts to come online. But with a lot of farm, he is an absolute monster.
Yeah, he's one of those. I always think of him as a really momentum-based hero. He can start to take over the game if he gets a little bit of early action, but if you shut him down early or you totally zone him out, he can be useless is a strong word, but lackluster in that early game when he really wants to shine.
Agreed.
And I guess that is this could be a good game for it, because you're pretty sure that it'll be Tiny Wisp mid, so it won't be him versus a tri-lane, so he'll be able to at least get some experience in the laning phase.
Yeah, that's why I would like to see some of the more greedy like laning heroes coming back, because people aren't, like you said, they aren't tri-laning anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's always a dual lane or one of the supports sitting mid to help somebody farm, and then the safe lane is another dual lane. And then you just have the solo off-lane heroes. So against these kinds of lineups, Alliance, if they are going to be putting Loda and the Wisp mid, then it's really easy for Nyx to get a ton out of his laning phase. You just start with the Poor Man's Shield and some tangos, and you are good to go. Like, that hero does not take damage from auto attacks.
Yeah, now Alliance grabbed the Dazzle, and I feel like he is one of the heroes sort of similar to the CM that Nyx can really pick on. Mana Burn is so hard to deal with if you're playing the Dazzle, because he's already kind of has mana issues early on.
Yeah.
Nyx can really pick on him.
Yeah, the 4-second cooldown is also amazing.
Yeah.
So, like, ultra late game
so
scenarios, you have the potential to also pick up Aghanims.
Yep.
Like, this hero becomes really hard to siege against once he gets to that point. So it lowers the cooldown of Impale, and it increases the range of Mana Burn and Impale significantly, like to a point where you can sit behind the tier 3 tower and still Mana Burn people below the ramp. That's how long the distance is.
That's disgusting.
So every time they come to siege in the late game phases, you can just mana burn, like throw out a stun every now and then when the heroes don't have spells left, they just are forced to back. So it's one of those heroes that also makes Alliance have less incentive to pick stuff like Wind Ranger. I mean, obviously, if they already have Io Tiny, I think it was going to be less likely that they would do that anyway.
Yeah.
Because picking it into a Nyx is a little bit rough.
Well, I like this 4th pick here from EHOME. Witch Doctor, one of the classic supports that's good against the Wisp. Just have that coconut bouncing around between the tether partner and the Wisp. And some sustain for the team. They're also kind of light on interrupts to try and deal with the Death Ward. Of course, you've got Tiny with his Avalanche, but...
Yeah, Avatars are the only 2 things that they have right now. That is very true.
So just an all-around good Witch Doctor scenario here so far. There you go, the Brewmaster.
Okay, S4
so that'll be your S4 hero, yep.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Alright.
I mean, Brew is actually pretty difficult for EHOME to burst at the moment. They're going to need like the Nyx combo into like double raise, or they're going to need a Fiend Script or something. My one worry, okay, they have to ban Disruptor, right? Or wait, no, Bulldog doesn't have his hero yet, so they can't even pick it. I'm wondering what they're going to get for Bulldog. Are they going to go for a Furion and just try to go for, like, the Mega Rat?
That's what I was thinking. They usually try to pair the Wisp with something that has somewhat of a global presence, or like a Clockwork.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Clock. I was going to say, Clock is really good against these heroes. You could also do that.
Yeah.
Because right now, what are they going to do? Like a Witch Doctor +1 safe lane? And EHOME have the first pick, so if they find an opening for a Clock, I think that's most likely what they'll go with, because they need some kind of long-distance interrupt right now.
Interesting. EHOME ban out the Lone Druid. So
it would be quite hard to stop a 5-man push with a lone druid and a brewmaster split, because if you look at EHOME, they kind of lack wave clear, and they don't like their spam in general is pretty bad. So if they had the dazzle sustain, and then they on top of that had a wisp and a lone druid bear just hitting towers, I actually think that EHOME would have a very difficult time fighting into Alliance pretty much any stage. So I actually like the lone druid ban quite a bit, and there's the Juggernaut ban coming out here from Alliance. That really makes me think they're going to pick Clock, because Juggernaut is great in lane against Clockwork. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Clock or Fury, and I can't think of anything else that they would want to grab here. Furion's still really good because even though they have a limited amount of catch, like Nyx is probably the only one. Again, no real deep push. Okay, so they're going to go for the AM. Still alright against Clock and lane, actually. Because you can mana burn him, and once he's out of mana, then Clock is not really that threatening. Yeah. Even to a point where you can win that lane even in the 1v1 setting if you play well enough. So. Yeah. And of course he's mobile enough to be able to blink out of cogs and that kind of stuff, so he's elusive on that front. Pretty much can't pick Bat here. I think Bat is like ultra bad against these heroes. Yeah, I would. Like Nyx just crushes Bat. It is so hard to play that hero into Nyx. Bane is also pretty good against him, just with ways that he hops in if you're in the right place at the right time. You hit him with a Nightmare or a Fiend script. Yeah. Cask bouncing around. I wonder what they're going to get here. I mean, if they're thinking this long, they obviously are going outside of the box. Ooh, okay, it's going to be Beastmaster. So still some control, though. Nice initiation stun. Maybe they didn't feel so confident putting the Clockwork down there after seeing the AM. Yeah. Well, a little more vision control. It's really nice to have with the Wisp. Throw the Hawk out. Yeah, absolutely. Some intel. Get the control, get the Brewmaster split up early, try to take towers. Mm-hmm. I think that this is an extremely greedy choice coming in from EHOME, especially considering their teamfight control is a lot less than what Alliance have. Like, just the Brewmaster is enough to force EHOME on the back foot. That's how I feel the mid game is going to go. You're just going to see Alliance. They don't even have to really go for relocate ganks, even though they obviously can. Because, I mean, that's just a strength of the lineup, right? You have the Tiny to fall back on and go for the ultra late and also just be a pushing monster with Aghanims. I really like Alliance's draft, even though I am kind of a Nyx fanboy. Yeah, I think Alliance will be able to hit this pretty early mid-game timing, basically where S4 has a Blink Dagger, the Wisp has Relocate, and the Beastmaster has at least a level 1, if not level 2 Necronomicon, and they'll just have so much kill potential, where they can jump on pretty much whoever they want. I mean, having SF and AM on the same team is like a super, super greedy lineup in general. Yeah. Like, even as Radiant, where it's seen as easier to kind of run the Shadow Fiend in general, I'm worried for EHOME, man. They need a lot of time. Yeah. Time that Alliance may not give them. I mean, the S4 Brewmaster, again, we talked about this yesterday, a hero that's been a little bit forgotten about, and S4 has a lot of games played on this hero. He's definitely one of the better Brewmaster players in the scene. Yeah, for sure. Something to be feared. I think 8 tangos outside of S4, like, No-Tail is one of the Brewmaster players that I remember the most, because OG has been running that hero quite a bit recently, in the Dream League as well. Yep. So I really want to see how this Nyx does. Yeah. All right, so Nyx starting with the double Mango here. He's going to have a lot of health regen. Super standard build. This is the same build that you would go on Night Stalker. Yeah. But Nyx has what? Does he have 4 base health? I think he has 3. Like 3.5, something like that. I think it's a lot. It's like 3.2 or something. Yeah. Similar to what Axe has. But yeah, with this, it's 5. Yep. So you're pretty much taking no damage. Ooh, Anti-Mage down bottom, taking some big damage, trying to grab that bounty rune, but we'll go to the Brewmaster, and up top, Shadow Fiend will pick up the other bounty. Yeah, I like this choice from Alliance. They just choose to go do a lot of lane against CTY's Anti-Mage. Brewmaster in lane puts 1 point into Drunken Haze. As AM, your laning phase is already just like the worst shit ever. Like, you're going to go up to a creep wave and miss like 45% of the time. It is an absolute nightmare to deal with. And this should be great for Bulldog. He'll have a 1v1 lane here. Mid. Nyx, we're going to see a first blood already. Lanham got tossed into the tower, but he's alright with Brain Sap. Yep. Nice aggressive lane support here in the Bane. Pretty tanky, has a lot of HP early on, and of course the Brain Sap makes things a lot easier. A new Brain Sap is actually insane, because at level 1 it like costs 70 mana. Oh, wow. And it's 70 mana for 90 peer damage and a heal on top of that. It used to be just standardized at all levels, right? Or was it just the level... How did the buffs go? Oh, maybe
Do they find CTY down here? Yep, a hell of a blink. Will be fine.
Yeah, I think they actually tiered it off so the mana cost was lower at lower level, and then went back to what it was originally.
Yeah.
You got it to level 4 or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but it made the hero a lot better in the early game because his mana costs were notoriously high before. Like Nightmare is 165 mana at level 1. Like that's insane.
Yeah. And this anti-mage is already feeling the hurt, and he hasn't even skilled up the Drunken Haze yet.
I mean, just having the Brewmaster there in the first place is pretty scary, right?
Yep.
Because your base damage is pretty good. I mean, CTY has got a Poor Man Shield, which means that he already has +6 agility through just stats, and Brewmaster only hits for 1 less damage, and all he has for items is a branch, so...
Yep. Dazzle happy to just trade last hits back and forth. Now, like I was saying before, this is really nice for Bulldog to get some farm early on, but it will give plenty of space for the Nyx Assassin to get early experience. Already level 3, so he will be a threat this game, no doubt. And I'm curious if he'll start moving around at level 6 or if we'll see him farm a little bit longer.
I think EHOME are going to have to go for like the late game. I don't know, it's really up to how the first few primal splits go. So if S4 gets his Blink Dagger early, as we can see him also just punching CTY.
Just being such a bully down here.
Yeah, it's very hard to deal with this, I think.
I don't think so.
I'll have to salve up already.
No way.
But I suppose the ones that are going to be moving around the most are probably the 2 offlaners. Like Bulldog is going to try to go get a gank with Aurora, and then 11's going to try to get a gank with Vendetta. It's just a matter of who's going to be more successful, outside of obviously S4 hitting 6.
Yeah.
Then you could also see some rotations from the Brew.
Yeah, this top lane is definitely going to have the most... both these heroes just completely change at level 6, and that's when they actually become a threat and find kills all over the map. This mid lane seems to be going okay for the Shadow Fiend, though. 10-3 against the 9-2 Tiny. Of course, he's got the Bane babysitting him here, but really not getting dominated too hard. This is pretty good for EHOME.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is Lanham can just go stack whenever. And as long as you're communicating, then Old Chicken can just back up a bit, and then you stack, you make sure you don't get tossed in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, already got a double stack here at the hard camp, so making the most of his time. And they've got a lane ward mid, which of course is making their lives easier as well.
It's going to be a pretty quiet early game, I feel. The only real place I can see a kill happening is maybe mid.
Yeah.
Because CTY shouldn't ever go down. I guess the Witch Doctor could die, potentially, if he's like really out of position, but Ake doesn't even have a point into Poison Touch, so...
Yeah, he's got super defensive here.
It would be very hard, I think, for any hero in this lane to actually die. So,
yeah.
For the most part, we're going to have a farming early game here.
Yeah. Yeah, usually I like that 1 point in Poison Touch just so you have an initiating slow to try to make something happen, but it seems like not so likely to be able to find a kill.
It's just a little bit tough, because it's hard to justify skilling Poison Touch when every point into Grave and Shadow Wave are so good. Like, each point into Grave increases the cast range by 150, and lowers the cooldown by 15 seconds. Like, the points into that are amazing.
Oh,
especially if you want to put yourself really far away from the actual engagement.
Yeah, the cooldown is nice, but the range is really the big thing. Level 1, 550 range is pretty lackluster. You've got to put yourself right in the fray where you would be auto-attacking to be able to Grave reliably.
Yeah. Top lane, Bulldog, going ham here.
Yep.
It's going to eat a stun.
Already forced out the Spike Carapace. Level 6. Close for both heroes, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, Bulldog's inching him out a bit just because he has more than eyes. But that's one of those things where if you're paying close attention, you can get a kill.
Yep.
You can just throw out a roar because you know you're going to hit 6 before the Nyx. Then maybe you can get a TP reaction and then maybe first blood. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
CTY still getting pressured pretty hard in the bottom lane. Even though I feel like he's always at low HP, he's still farming pretty well. Only 5 last hits behind S4's Brewmaster. So
Yeah, but he's out of regen now, so life is really difficult for him.
here we go. Bulldog, he hits level 6. Nick's still not there, but well-timed Spike Carapace will push him back. No first blood will be drawn.
These boars, man. Boars OP. CTY going to be forced to blink out of the tree line here.
Yeah.
Witch Doctor only has 1 tango to give him. And
Yeah.
no lane.
They're finally out of regen. Oh.
Lane, the Nightmare deny!
Oh.
What a player!
Wow. Alright.
So I was right, the first lane that actual death happened
Yeah.
was mid, but it didn't count because it was a deny.
So what was the setup there? Was it another toss back into the tower?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can kill, really.
Yeah. Alright. Man, this Beastmaster's farming up a storm. Last hit leader. Both him and the Nyx actually are topping the charts right now.
Yeah, but the boars are starting to give the Nyx a little bit of problems.
Yeah.
It's just like eventually you just start taking that little bit of damage over time, and it makes you really not want to go up to the creep wave in general.
Yeah.
Because you know if you get roared and somebody TPs, you could just die.
Well, I got some nice stacks here in the dire jungle. Rotation up top though. Lanham's come up. Nightmare set up onto Admiral Bulldog.
Breaks it with the boar.
Yeah, very nicely done. And he'll just walk away. There you go.
He was actually mid-cast animation for the roar onto the Nyx. I think he was going to try to go for the kill there. But he only has level 1 axes, so I'm not sure if he would have gotten it or not.
Yeah. Mid lane gets pinged out. Yeah, actually not that many stacks for the Shadow Fiend. Looks like just a triple stack at the hard camp and no stacks here at the medium camp.
A triple stack's still okay though. At level 5 you can still triple raise that, and I think it gets you to level 7 from level 6, so
Okay.
it's not really like the biggest deal in the world. As long as he hits 7, that's when you can start killing the wave really quickly and making sure that the Wisp and the Tiny don't get any free kills from it. And the other thing too is if he can hit 7, he can also try to contest the stack that Alliance had, but looks like Loda is just gonna throw out a casual toss. Maybe make his way back to base with the Wisp and then go back for it later.
Yeah. Great positioning here from Bulldog as a rotation up top from the Witch Doctor. So it was a 3-hero play from EHOME. 11 popped the Vendetta, and Bulldog just hides under his tower. See him scout this out here. He's pinging out these stacks.
Oh, they're going for it.
Yeah, they're going to move
Shadow
in.
Fiend's on his way there.
This is great timing here. Of course, Wisp not yet level 6, so no relocate.
Dead. Definitely dead. This is a huge steal for them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, the Wisp is
Oh,
only
they're going
level
to take
3
this
right
one
now.
too. This is another...
The Wisp is only level 3. He needs these stacks.
Oh,
if they're not
no.
going to defend these stacks, this is so bad for them because they need that Wisp combination to come online.
And just look at that Shadow Fiend's net worth. He was already number 1, and now he moves even further into the lead.
Alright, they're going in for
They're
kills
going to
here.
try to punish this here. Avalanche goes right onto Old Chicken. They'll toss him back up to the high ground, but it's 4B too. I mean, Alliance know they can't quite take this. Ake's in the back line here. Bulldog's starting to come in, but EHOME will just walk away. Their Shadow Fiend a little worse for wear, and that's it. They get 2 huge stacks.
God, that is painful. This Wisp is not going to get anything from all that work that he put in a stack in the jungle.
Yeah.
Because every time you do that, you're missing out on experience. He could even die here if he's not careful.
Yeah, he'll tether across. Oops, set up onto Shadow Fiend, but the Nyx is right there. Goes it onto Mind Nuts. Look how much damage he does with the Vendetta straight away. There's your first blood drawn by the Old Chicken as he takes out Io. Great setup here from EHOME. And the first big rotation from Nyx is just a multifaceted victory. Scouts out the stacks to secure for the Shadow Fiend, and then he finds the first blood for his mid laner as well.
I really like the way they're using the Nyx so far. They realize that they need to try to get the information early of how many stacks they have, where are they, what level is our Shadow Fiend, can we go and take them. Those were the first things that they wanted to prioritize, and honestly, I think it was a mistake from Bulldog not anticipating that movement and not being there and ready to fight. Because if he was there with a roar, they could have potentially at least gotten something off of EHOME, because God, this Wisp needs it. Like, he needs to be in the vicinity of some kind of kill or a stack being taken with the Tiny, because his level 6 being delayed actually gives EHOME so much more time to set out and just get farm and make sure that they can just split up the map.
And now Old Chicken just goes into his hard camp, kills the triple stack there, and he's at 5k net worth all of a sudden. Tiny hovering around 3, S4 hovering around 3.5. He is starting to get some serious momentum here. Looks like he will just go mech first item as the headdress coming out. This is a fabulous start here for EHOME, Driscoll.
I mean, we still haven't seen any of the primal splits come out yet, so I'm going to reserve my judgment for what Alliance can do until I start seeing S4 go in with his team and try to start team fights.
Smoke rotation from Tiny Wisp. It gets broken here. This is a dire observer they're sitting on top of. CTY comes in, starts poking nuts. He'll tether down to the low ground, but now Loda, he's kind of isolated here. Throws the combo on to 11. Won't find the kill, and they'll just stun him up. Loda's going to fall first. Down he goes. Now it's going to be EHOME on the back foot as the rest of the line start to press forward. S4 has a primal split available, but we'll hold on to it. 11 in Vendetta form. Looking to pick off a squishy support here. Won't find one. I think EHOME will be happy just to take a 1-0 in that little trade.
Yeah, and the Nyx is just walking around gathering information. It's not a matter of using the Nyx to initiate necessarily, it's just making it more comfortable for the AM to get what he needs out of the early game. And the same thing can be said for the Shadow Fiends.
Up top, Admiral Bulldog caught by a Fiend's grip from the backside. Lanham sets it up, and Gets another kill. Old Chicken gets an assist for that one. Now 11 down bottom, scouting out S4. Will he initiate here? Who's he going to choose? He's pinging out Ake. Looks like the Dazzle's going to take the damage. He'll be stunned up as well. No shallow grave for himself. They force out the primal split, but it's S4 versus 3. No TP reaction. He'll try to do as much damage as he can. Putting some pressure onto CTY. Boulder Toss comes out, but Witch Doctor's there with the Voodoo Restoration. He'll heal him up, and AM will be able to just blink back to safety. First primal split, a defensive one, and will keep S4 alive, but won't achieve much more than that.
EHOME are playing this so well. Like, forcing S4 to split like that, that is the worst case scenario for him. He never wants to split defensively. He always wants to be with his team, and he wants to use split over objectives, which means that, again, EHOME are just buying time. CTY had a pretty abysmal laning phase, but it was expected. Up against the Brewmaster lane, you're not really going to get anything out of it.
Brew never skilled Drunken Haze, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, he has Arcanes now, so he'll probably pick up a point into it, but before, he just wanted to have maybe the mana, I guess, to continually spam clap instead, just to go for the guaranteed CS.
Right.
But he'll probably go back for 1 eventually. And these stacks, they cannot be taken again.
Well,
like,
I mean, 11's just going to get a solo kill onto Nuts here. Easy peasy. Hits him with a Vendetta, level 4 Impale, and the Wisp is just dead. Sitting only at level 4.
EHOME are actually outplaying them so hard.
Yeah. And the whole time while that fight was breaking out down bottom, Old Chicken was just up top split pushing, solo farming the waves, and they killed that tier 1 tower. They'll just rotate mid, force out the glyph again, and looks like Alliance is about to lose another tier 1 tower.
I mean, S4 has Blink Clap, but he doesn't have his ultimate up for another 50 seconds. So this is free.
Yep, there you go. So Bean gets another tower.
I really hope that the next Primal Split actually gets Alliance something, because they need some sort of momentum going for them. A lot of times, AM is one of those heroes that is very incapable of fighting for a long time, but just because of EHOME's movement and how they've controlled the early game, the Shadow Fiend is going to be, I think, enough of a deterrent for Alliance that the CTY is going to have a ton of space to farm. Bulldog has book 1, but he's not anywhere near Blink because he needs to finish the book 3 first if they want to try to get Roshan or they want to try to take like real team fights. I'm just not sure if they can pressure hard enough at this point to make EHOME react.
And now EHOME, they can just do this 4+1. You see Anti-Mage up top hiding in the trees. He's going to wait for this fight to break out before he shows. The rest of EHOME are ready to fight. They've got the mech up on the Shadow Fiend, who also has a regen in the bottle. Now that all 5 of Alliance are committed down bottom, AM will start pressuring the lane, and at least there's a Blink Primal Split available here for the Brewmaster.
Oh, you gotta have sentries here. You absolutely need to put a sentry down.
Kaka, he's going to get scouted out. EHOME,
They smoked as well.
might be forced to do something. Kaka in no man's land. He tries to channel the ultimate, gets interrupted right away by Loda, and it looks like they're just going to let him die. On the backside, Nyx gets initiated on as well. Primal Roar comes out. He's going to be stuck. He'll be brought down. It's a 2-fer.
There we go.
Lions get 2 quick picks, and now they're going to 5-man onto this tower.
Yeah, not having to commit split is a big deal, because it actually means if they wanted to, they could go for 2 towers here, or they could try to rotate mid and take that as well. In the meantime, obviously AM has just been pushing top.
Yep.
He's actually getting really close to his Battle Fury.
Yeah,
So
not
I
too
think
bad.
that Alliance, they got something on the board. That's the most important part. Like, they need to try to get something done. Because the first, I would say, 10 minutes have been heavily EHOME favored, and the Shadow Fiend is just gigantic.
Oh, up top, they make the rotation. Fiend's Grip onto Loda. CTY with the right clicks. Mana Void for good measure. That'll be an easy kill. Going the way of the Anti-Mage. Meanwhile, in the mid lane here, Old Chicken gets split on by the Brewmaster. Ake and Nuts are nearby, but 11's on his way in. Drops the stun on the Wisp. He'll just bring him down. Old Chicken has a mech. That'll keep him alive a little bit longer. Primal Split's done, but there's a Thunderclap from S4. It looks like they may have the damage, and they do. Shadow Fiend will get popped, but EHOME have reinforcements inbound. Ake will preemptively grave himself. Much needed here as he's now on the run. They'll have an Impale from the Nyx. They'll get the kill. It will be a 3-for-1 exchange here in the mid lane as the Tiny went down also.
Yeah, that was the split used as well.
Yep.
I think it's okay still for Alliance. Like, they have some time. As soon as the Beastmaster gets to book 3, that's when we're going to start really seeing the potential of the lineup come on here. Just make sure they can go in with the Blink Dagger on the Tiny, try to find a quick pick, maybe get Lanham, maybe if you're lucky even get the Nyx, because those heroes are definitely combo kills right now, or they're within that threshold of health, right?
Yeah.
So that could be a really nice way for them to get a fight going for themselves. And
I feel like they just desperately need relocate on Wisp. He's level 5 now, but still has a pretty good ways to go.
He had such a hard early game. Like, those stacks getting stolen put them so far behind.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the level for the IO either, it's about the farm for Loda.
Yeah.
Like,
he
Loda
did go
could
Blink
have had,
Dagger
like-
first item.
Yeah, he
which-
could have
which is
had
up
like
now.
drums by now as well. But
Yeah.
instead of having that extra survivability and mobility in the fights, it's just taken away completely and just given to the SF. So
S4 needs to be a little careful here. Nyx is coming around the backside, hits him with an impale. Damage to follow up. Now Old Chicken comes in. Lanham has the Fiend's Grip. And it's going to be another easy kill. They're using this Bane so well. The Fiend's Grip has already set up a number of kills.
I'm really impressed with the way EHOME is doing this. Like, they have a very clear idea of what they need to do. And the way that they've utilized the Nyx so far, I still really like. When you have Dazzle and you have Wisp on the same team, those are two heroes that you can just go in and just almost solo kill if you're Nyx. But if you look at his build, he hasn't even opted to put any points into Mana Burn. So he's mostly just there as a deterrent.
Yeah.
Like, he's not there trying to necessarily get solo kills, but he can find the Wisp out and just stun lock him and stop him from doing anything. And a level 4 carapace at this stage in the game, it's a 2.5 second stun pretty much. So any of the residual damage from either a Thunderclap or maybe even just a stray healing wave coming out from the Dazzle, all that stuff stuns you, stops your combo, just disjoints a lot of stuff that Alliance want to try to do.
Yeah. EHOME have made a lot of space with his anti-mage, though. He's got his Battle Fury complete now, 600 gold in the bank. And looks like Bane could be going for an early Glimmer Cape here. Yeah, he's got it completed once he gets a turn with the Courier.
My god, he already has Glimmer and Arcanes.
Yep, that's insane.
So if he's on point, he can pretty much stop a lot of the combo damage coming out from Loda.
Yep.
I mean, it's a hard thing to do, to see the Tiny and just be like, oh, I'm gonna Glimmer this guy, because I think that's who's he's gonna go on, but...
Still, there's one player that can do it. I've got some faith in Lanham's positioning here.
Yeah,
So far, he's been on point.
That boy good.
Oh, yeah.
He real good.
Well, there is a stroke of good news here for Alliance, though, Drasco.
here we
Book
go.
3 is up. So they've got some serious burst
This
damage
is Alliance's timing for sure. Like, finishing up the Book 3. The Wisp is now level 6
Yep.
on top of that. If they want to try to do something, I believe now is definitely the time.
now. Well, they
I
are
mean-
grouped up as 5, so they're ready.
You can wait out potentially Blink for Bulldog, but I don't think you need to. Because like Book 3, going into Inner Beast with a Tiny, that should be enough to be able to push. And if you're threatening that with a Primal Split, you're kind of good to go.
Yeah.
Because CTY is going to continue to get farm.
Seems like Alliance, though, they know they need to be aggressive, but they don't quite have a window to do it here. And all the while, CTY is just racking up the farm. Him and Shadow Fiend top of the net worth chart. And Alliance are sort of moving around in this 5-man ball. That's a BKB out on the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
So this timing window is already rapidly closing.
I honestly think that Shadow Fiend is one of the better heroes against Brewmaster for this specific reason. There aren't many heroes in Dota that you can go BKB first on and still be threatening to a Brewmaster inside a split. And it's mostly just because the Requiem, right? Like the Requiem hits the Fire and the Air Panda. So they go to like half health or even lower almost immediately. And you don't have any way of interrupting him at this stage other than roaring him. And you
Right.
really don't want to roar into a BKB.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to deal damage with the Necro Book, right? You get the mana burn coming in from the Necro minions, and then
Right.
you can actually kill somebody. But if SF is BKB'd, it doesn't really do a lot to him. It only delays the roar by like 3 seconds.
And he also still has just enough right-click damage because of the nature of Necromastery that you can go BKB first item and still have really scary right-clicks relative to most other heroes.
He can
at
go
this
back
stage.
for like SNY or Helm
Yeah.
of the Dominator if he wants to go for a more carry-centric build. But given the fact that he has an AM, I'm leaning him more towards him going for a mid-game style. Like SNY I think would be great in this situation. Just give yourself some added durability and just the flexibility of moving around in fights, and main procs are also pretty ridiculous right now. So.
Yep. Well, now the free tower goes the way of EHOME as they take out the tier 1 down bottom. Alliance are equipped with sentries here, though. Ake is ready to keep his team safe from the threat of the Nyx Assassin. Of course, the Necro 3 does give you some added detection. EHOME will burn a smoke on 4 heroes while the anti-mage still continues to split farm. Right now, just farming up some Ancients. Has his Yasha completed. They're on the hunt. They've
It's
got
actually
it.
interesting he opted to go for Yasha instead of Lads.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you're right.
I suppose
I've
it's
seen this
because-
build so much in all the days of casting, but this is definitely the older style.
Yeah, I think they are feeling fairly confident, so if you wanted to go for the earlier Manta style and even have CTY come contribute, like popping a Manta on a Wisp at this stage in the game, when
It's
Minos
huge.
has had such a hard game, he just gets annihilated. Same thing with a Dazzle.
Oh, Loda, he goes in onto Kaka. Doesn't have enough damage with the combo. Now S4 gets off the Primal Split, but Old Chicken pops the BKB, will get off the Requiem, and as you pointed out, Draskell, those Earth Spirit, or Panda Spirits, are not doing a hell of a lot. Death Ward getting channeled, but not doing much damage, is now Old Chicken.
Nice
getting
Nightmare.
low. Nightmare will buy him a little bit of time. He still has the mech, but not going to be able to use it. He'll die. He'll be the first death in this fight. Now Lanham on the high ground, in some trouble, has a Fiend's Grip, but won't be able to utilize it either. It's a fast 2-for-0. Nice stun from 11 onto Loda, as well as S4 to buy some space for Kaka. He's got the Voodoo Restoration on, level 3 at that. And it doesn't look like it'll be enough to keep him alive. Toss from Loda will secure the kill. It's a 3-for-0. Alliance finding a timing here as they take a much-needed team fight.
Yeah, the big thing was the SF dying without using mech. I think that would have given him enough time to deal at least a little bit more damage, but you can see kind of what we were talking about with the Requiem. It's just the split, if it's on top of the Shadow Fiend, he just gets blown up, more or less. And CTY has a Hyperstone. What in the heck?
That is peculiar. He will get the last hit on the tower, though. Very nice. Kind of fakes out Loda a little bit. Takes some damage from the toss. Hits creeps a few more times. Tries to TP home, but Loda knows exactly where he blinks.
That was close.
Doesn't have the avalanche in time, and he will TP out.
Is he going for Moonshard?
That's what I was wondering. I can't imagine you would rush an AC. That just seems...
I mean, AC's not bad on AM. A lot of people have this...
Well, I don't think it's bad on AM, but just going Yasha AC Battle Fury, that feels like a very...
I've never seen Hyperstone this early on an AM in my entire life. I have literally never seen this. I'm thinking that having Moonshard would be like pretty crazy actually, because you just farm so fast. Because you get like 120 attack speed.
I mean, it kind of plays into what we just talked about, right? EHOME have a pretty nice lead for themselves. Even after that last failed fight, they're still holding on to a 7,500 net worth and experience lead. They've very successfully done this 4+1 strategy, and there's been minimal pressure on CTY since the laning stage is broken down. So
he bought something else.
I mean, he's gone for this greedy build with the Yasha. Why not go for the greedy build with the Hyperstone?
He is going Manta now.
Down bottom. Okay, Lana will get initiated on. They've got the sentries. Glimmer Cape not going to keep him alive. Now Old Chicken stuck in the trees. They're going to find him. They'll isolate him. He'll try to BKB TP, but it's going to be close and he won't make it. Wisp will get credit for that one, and Alliance get 2 quick picks in the bottom lane.
Alright, so that pick is actually massive, but they could lose the Wisp here.
Oh.
Middle lane, he just gets dropped. Yeah, Loda's still in the area.
It looks like they will just retreat. They're going to try to at least. Loda blinks forward onto 11, hits him with a combo. Doesn't get max damage out of it, but S4 comes in. Drunken Haze does connect. Now Death Ward from Kaka doing some good damage to Loda. Nice stun from 11 to set it up. CTY will use the Mana Void to finish off Brew, and 11 will use that Spike Carapace to much avail. Secures the kill on Tiny and mitigates the damage from the toss. That certainly would have been his death. Very nicely played there. What was a quick 2-for-0 will turn to be in favor of EHOME. Look at this from CTY. Bulldog on the run. His boar will get taken out, and they're going to continue on here, but the blink will reset, and he will move back to safety.
This is like the fattest AM I've ever seen at this stage in the game. Like, given Alliance's lineup, I think a lot of people would be looking at this and saying, all right, you got Beastmaster, Brew, and Wisp Tiny. You should be able to pressure the map, right? You should be able to make EHOME feel scared and not be able to just put CTY wherever they want. But the guy has no fear. He's feeling like fully confident right now. He's got 4 kills, hasn't died a single time. He's roughly 10 CS a minute at 24 minutes.
4-0-2. And this is after that rough laning stage to the beginning.
Yeah,
we saw how hard he was pressured.
His lane was not great. He pretty much had to soak all of the regen from his Witch Doctor because he was just getting punched in lane by the Brew. I mean, I think Alliance in the laning phase pretty much did exactly what they needed, but the biggest error they made was not defending their stacks.
Yep.
Like, that in of itself put them in a really awkward position because you're basically giving away like 1,000 free net worth to the SF and a lot of experience that your Wisp needed to get in order to really contribute, I think, a decent part in this game. And not only that, but the first split that S4 did was a defensive split where he wasn't able to really get an objective for it. So now Nick's scouting out the Brewmaster here, but not going to go for it.
Yeah.
It's at that stage where like Roshan, I think, is going to be necessary for Alliance. Like, not even just to take it away from EHOME, but I think without Roshan, they are actually in a really rough spot.
Yeah, Aghanim's on the way for the Tiny, just about 1,000 gold off, so Loda's still finding some okay farm, though if you compare it to the Shadow Fiend to the Anti-Mage, definitely feels a little bit lackluster. Bulldog has picked up a gem now, though, so they are definitely equipped to deal with this Nyx Assassin. 11 will have to be very careful with his positioning now to not get caught out.
I find it actually a a little bit strange that he opts to buy the gem just in this situation. Maybe he
Why
just...
is that?
I mean, having a gem on Beastmaster is really good for obvious reasons. You can use the Hawk to deward, but typically you just want to use the book anyway, right? Like you can pop the book, walk around with that and the Hawk, and then just deward no matter what.
Yeah. Tiny actually has the Aghanims. He had another piece hidden on the courier there.
Okay.
So that's pretty big for Alliance here as EHOME move into the
Don't
Roche
walk up
pit.
the hill.
I think they're trying to bait this. 11. Oh, he walks right into it. He'll get Primal Roared. Not going to be able to get the Spike Carapace off, but a nice Nightmare buys him a little bit of time. Still not enough. I'll end that killing spree and get a free kill there. Now, the gem has been revealed, and it will cost EHOME and Nyx Assassin. Possibly the Roche as well. Alliance walk right into the pit. S4 breaks the Lincolns.
Now this is big. They absolutely needed this. If for whatever reason EHOME were able to get this Roshan, I would say that Alliance, like, not is totally out of the game, but they would have a very small chance.
Oh, here we go. S4 pops out, goes into the Primal Split. Nyx will buy back here. Primal Split not really getting a hell of a lot done, and S4 will move to a more defensive posture. Roche still pretty beefy at about half HP.
Down. They can't fight this anymore. Are they just giving it to EHOME? Like,
It
they
looks
don't
like
have
it.
Primal Split because they used it to try to...
That was such an awkward split.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, honestly.
It almost looked like a
all right.
miscommunication where S4 made the call to take the fight and the rest of the team committed to Roche. And
This is really bad news for Alliance.
Oof.
Like, really, really bad.
Yeah, free Aegis goes the way of Shadow Fiend, who also has a Blink Dagger, by the way, and another 2,000 gold to spare.
Jesus. What is the CTY gonna buy? I really want to know what he's gonna do with his Hyperstone. I think Moonshard is the more common play, just because you can eat it later if you want to try to get something else.
I mean, he has been split pushing quite a bit, so I guess the AC would make sense in that sense, but...
No, AC is definitely good.
11,
no question about that.
hunting down Ake. Does he find a free kill here? Sentry Ward comes down. 11's got to go if he's going for it, and there we go. Mana Burn connects, and Ake will just get finished off by a raise. The power of the Nyx assassin right there, Draskell.
No kidding. And Bulldog, no, how do you fall for that, Bulldog? That's your gem.
Oh, no.
CTY literally just walked into trees and Bulldog fell for it. He just walked back up and just got wrecked.
Oh, my. And CTY will just TP out. All the while in the mid lane, the rest of EHOME take out the tier 2 tower. Things are falling apart for Alliance. We passed that 5-figure mark of gold, and about 14k experience is the favor of EHOME right now.
I'm really worried right now for Alliance. This AM is just going straight Abyssal Blade. Like, he just bought a casual Hyperstone.
I've never seen that. A casual Hyperstone before Manta.
I'm thinking if there's like a real reason behind it, because you're basically paying 2,000 gold for 55 attack speed. It is a better creep killing and tower killing item than a Yasha in that sense, right? Because you're getting more attack speed out of it. But Yasha also gives you damage and movement speed.
Right.
So he goes Yasha, which is the more efficient item first, then Hyperstone, then finishes Manta. That is like a super confident play, you know?
Yeah.
You don't do that unless you're like, we're winning this game.
Yeah, we're winning. I'm not going to get pressured. Oh, 11, he tries to get cheeky, blinks into the trees to TP home. They catch vision of him, and he'll get finished off by the Tiny. That's a freebie.
I mean, too bad CTY has, like, ungodly amounts of money right now.
Yeah, and there's the Abyssal
Like, he's
completed.
got Abyssal done. Jeez.
This is, let's see here. Gold per minute, 710 at the 29-minute mark.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That is impressive.
Not bad. Showing us AM still lives.
Oh, me.
I mean, after seeing so many pub AMs, it kind of feels like the hero was a little bit dead.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously in competitive games, it's much different because you communicate that you need to be able to create space for CTY. And I think that EHOME has done a phenomenal job of that throughout the early game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, old chicken, he'll move into Butterfly here. Eagle's Song has already been picked up, so...
CTY with that game sense, yo, he's out of there.
Yeah. It feels like one of the biggest issues, though, aside from the anti-mage, is just losing that gem. Because they've already had issues controlling the Nyx Assassin, and now they are low on tools to detect his whereabouts. Ake still stocked up on detection with some sentries as well as dust, but easier said than done.
Yeah, this is a really rough spot for Alliance. They haven't used their ultimates in the most optimal manner. And the other problem that they're going to have now, too, is how do you relocate gank any of these heroes?
Have we even
know
seen
that-
a relocate yet?
I think we saw one, right? There has to have been one, right?
I actually can't think of one. They've just been moving
I just thought about that too. I was like, wait a minute, did they actually not relocate at all?
And they haven't had any opportunities to. They've been moving around in this grouped up kind of death ball here because they don't have too many other choices. Bulldog will be sitting back at the base as the 4 of them are out. There's a smoke from EHOME right now, and this is a little bit scary if you're Alliance if they get caught.
And Alliance are getting a little bit spooked right now. I don't really blame them. I mean, given the situation, you have no outer 2 towers left. It's 30 minutes in. Your Tiny has 1 item. Okay, well, technically 2, I guess, because he has
Blink and
eggs,
eggs, but
yeah.
he's got 3,500 gold as well.
Like, he is so far away from being able to contest CTY, but they could find this pick.
The trap has been set here, Draskell.
They're not going for him. They're leaving.
They're going to TP home. They think it's bait.
I mean, yeah, that's actually a good point, because the rest of EHOME are smoked, right? So they actually couldn't have known.
They've been missing for a while.
And they have no vision because they gave away Bulldog's gem. So everything has been dewarded.
Right now, the Dire have literally no wards down. This is Alliance vision right now.
This is a black map, yeah. This is really, really tough.
And then you look at the wards from the Radiant, and they've got a nice aggressive lane ward mid, plateau in the jungle.
Is going AC, by the way.
Okay.
It is not often you see that, actually.
Yeah, he's got it on the courier.
I would really love to pick his brain about that choice and ask him why exactly. Like, obviously the item is good. It's just something that you don't really see.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's because it's good to help just kill the base. Is it actually better for split pushing than getting something like maybe Butterfly, which is comparable to the cost of an AC? Like, does that damage actually get outweighed by the minus armor? Maybe he's done the math.
Possibly. Speaking of Butterfly, Shadow Fiend has his. He's got that last piece sitting on the courier right now as the anti-mage gets the last piece for his Assault Kuros. So 2 big items here on the horizon for EHOME.
That's actually a really good point that you bring up. Just the fact that the SF has Butterfly. It sounds like a normal thing, but if you have an Assault on somebody else on the team and a Butterfly on the other carry, it makes your high ground siege terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Shadow Fiend having that kind of like plus armor already, so what, with the AC Aura, he's going to have 23 armor. He's going to have roughly like 1,500 health on Strength Treads. He'll have mech and BKB.
Yeah.
That should be more than enough, I think, for EHOME to even threaten high ground or just wait out another Roche.
Well, and now that they have the Abyssal Blade up, I really fear for S4 in this next big team fight that's on the horizon, because between the Abyssal, the Impale, the Coconut, the Fiend Script, they have so many ways to lock S4 in place and stop him from getting off the Primal Split. 11 up top, almost gets caught by a tiny combo as he walks by a Sentry Ward, but it will be off the mark. TP out from the Wisp.
Oh, Bulldog, jeez.
Tiny as well. Oh my.
He just got wrecked.
Alright, well, there's your Abyssal Blade debut. Yeah. Missed that one, sorry about that.
That's alright, he died in like less than a second.
Yeah.
He actually just got annihilated.
But they're going to catch the Tiny up top.
Yeah. I wonder if CTY just goes all in and goes MKB, or if he wants to go BKB at this point. Because BKB Abyssal, at this stage, almost ensures that you kill the person that you go on, right?
Yeah.
Like, unless the Dazzle grades them or they get relocated, which, honestly, I don't think relocate's going to work because they're going to die too fast. Like, they're just going to die in like 3 or 4 hits.
Yeah.
But the AC Aura plus the presence of the Dark Lord as well, you got that synergy going for you. So you get minus 11 armor to pretty much anybody who's going to be trying to fight you.
Loda gets a BKB up now.
Actually, this has to be because of Brew, right? Because if you think about it, the minus armor aura on the Panda split, you just right-click them down. Like, you just punch them to death. What are they gonna do?
That's a really good point. With the AC on top of the presence of the Dark Lord, that's, what, minus 11 armor?
Yeah, it's insane.
Pretty ridiculous.
And I'm pretty sure aura is still effective Panda.
Oh, here we go. Old Chicken, he gets tossed back in. Combo comes out. He'll mech BKB, stays alive for now, but Primal Roar from Bulldog secures the kill. Up top, hey, look, it's CTY. He gets a free tier 3 tower. So, Shadow Fiend for tier 3. Not the worst trade for EHOME. Less than ideal, but they're making it work.
Alright, CTY, you got like some balls of steel, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Cojones on that guy. Alright, well, he does make it out.
Yeah, I think the AC is actually specifically because of Brew. And obviously having Shadow Fiend, like that synergy is very good.
How much armor do the Brewlings get? Does he get the Vlads through the split?
Yeah, he does. The Earth Panda holds auras.
Okay.
So if you have like AC Vlads, you get them both.
Right, I thought so.
I don't actually know what the base armor is off the top of my head though.
Yeah,
I don't really play Panda that much. So
Yeah,
I don't think it's very high.
I don't think it's in the double digits.
No, it's definitely not.
So
At least for the air and the...
11 misses his stun there onto Ake. Unfortunate.
It's alright. I mean, honestly, the Nyx has been kind of a... just an information gatherer this game. Like, very similar to how you would play a bounty hunter.
Yep.
Oh god, CTY going for Bulldog again. This time he's gonna get saved by a Grave.
Yeah, just barely keeps him alive. Oh, mid lane. Nuts as well as Loda trying to go in here, but Fiend's Grip onto Nuts. Full duration Death Ward from Kaka will secure the kill. Now 11 comes in to try to get the counter kill onto Loda. Misses the stun, but he was BKB'd anyway. CTY gets Craggied on his first hit. And Loda's BKB debut will keep him alive at least for now. Now the Primal Split is utilized. The Pandas have 5 armor. Well, oh my god, it's even worse than that, Draskel. 0, 2, and 6. Or 0, 2, and 5, rather.
Yeah, not the greatest.
Come down.
Yeah, you can actually just punch them to death.
That's really insane. And again, the Primal Split's utilized here and really doesn't achieve anything.
Well, this has pretty much been the story of the game.
Yeah.
Every single Brewmaster split that I've seen, barring the one bottom lane where they actually managed to get a tier 1, has not given them any objective. This is a very similar to a hero to like Warlock, for example, where if you use Chaotic Offering, the cooldown is so long that you actually just have to get something out of it. And I would even say
kind
that
of like the Death Prophet we saw yesterday.
Yeah, like Warlock's ultimate is probably not even as... it's not as badly scaling as Brew. Because the Golems, you can get Refresher, you can get Aghanims, and you can buff it to a point where it's like actually kind of scary, even in the late game.
Yeah, 4 Golems is always something to be...
Primal Split drops off like a rock. Like, as soon as BKBs come out, you're all of a sudden like, okay, well, my hero actually just doesn't do anything anymore. So
yeah.
I think that Alliance just didn't have the solid early game they needed to really utilize their mid-game potential with the Brew. Yeah. And I think that EHOME knew exactly what they needed to do in the early game to shut them down.
Wow. So CTY continuing to do things interesting here. You were
this is a great choice.
Asking if he wants BKB or MKB. He just goes for the Lincoln. And look at this guy. He just goes straight in, says, hey there, Nuts. How would you like an Abyssal Blade to the face? Easy Mana Void. He gets another kill. Again, blinks into the tree line. And he'll just TP home.
And mid-roar animation there on Bulldog. Couldn't get it off.
Yeah.
But the Lincolns is great because if you look at the Alliance's team right now, there's only a couple of things that actually break Lincolns. Like, Drunken Haze is one of them. I guess you have Poison Touch, which 2 points right now, and they're from Ake, but the main initiator is always going to be Bulldog. So he has to go in, pop book,
Mana Burn or
Mana
something.
Burn with the Necro book, and then try to roar after that. And I'm pretty sure CTY's reaction speed is going to be faster to blink away than it's going to take Bulldog to do 3 things. And oh god,
S4 blinks in, but he'll get caught in the Fiend's Grip. He won't be able to Primal Split this time. He'll be the first victim of this fight in the Roche Pit. Old Chicken pops the BKB, going for Admiral Bulldog. He'll get a shallow grave. That'll buy him a little bit of time, but now Ake, isolated and left alone, will be brought down. Bulldog will die as soon as the grave expires, and Loda, with no choice but to high ground and move to a more defensive posture. Roche will fall in favor of EHOME, and that's an Aegis in the hands of the Shadow Fiend.
I think this is just GG. They use Split again, they use Roar, books down. They don't have buyback on any of their heroes. CTY has literally double Loda's net worth. Like,
yeah.
32,000 net worth at 39 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to go right for the high ground here. There is a glyph available for Alliance, but Nuts gets set up on with the Nightmare, followed up by the stun. He will be able to mech, but gets hit by one last cast. Long-range tether will keep him alive. Glyph comes out after the tier 3 tower falls. Remember, there's no tier 3 in the top lane. CTY took it out before, so this will just be an easy rotation up top after these barracks fall. And Alliance really lacking resources here. They do have a couple of buybacks available for one last fight. And of course, they do still have the Primal Split. But now Nuts initiated on again. He'll get the Grave. That'll buy him a little bit of time. Primal Split comes out as well. Doing some pretty big damage to Lanham, but he'll be okay. Compliments to that Glimmer Cape. He gets dusted, but still able to make it back, and Kaka will heal him back up. Loda heads out. We'll bring him down, but CTY doing so much work in the base. So far, they've only been able to kill the Witch Doctor, and Loda's BKB is just about to expire. He's just getting clicked down by the Shadow Fiend. CTY still acting like a madman on the back lines. Loda finally falls, and now the buybacks come out. One on the side of EHOME and one on the side of Alliance. That may be the only buyback that Alliance has this fight. They're still holding on to the top lane of Barracks, but no more Primal Split from S4. He'll use the BKB, and CTY just man-fights him and will kill him. That's it. He's done. Now, Fiend's Grip onto Loda. This will be a dieback now for the Tiny. Everyone on EHOME on low HP, but Alliance just lacking the resources to finish him off, and it'll be GG as the Alliance get completely wiped in the final fight.
My goodness. That was...
EHOME are on point.
That was not close, actually. It wasn't close. And I really think, again, it's down to just EHOME's early game decision making. Everything they did was perfect. Sealing the stacks, stopping S4 from getting anything from his primal split. CTY even had time to buy a casual Hyperstone in between his item progression and still maintain 900 GPM.
I mean, he ended that game 12-0 and 5. That speaks to how little